There are times there is no one else. Crime is the way. My fucking voice is shot. I'm sorry, folks.
Is it cool to do another one?
Twice in one night was a little much for that one.
Okay, right.
You can fucking say that you
I can't sing.
That was amazing. I don't care.
I did that like an hour ago and it was fine, but apparently I can do that one once in a night and that's it.
I'm through standing in line, the clubs I'm never getting. It's like the bottom of the knife and I'm never gonna win. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be. Tell me what you want. I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs and a bathroom
This guy's still going.
Think about the show Friends. That's been like pretty much covered by everybody.
Hi.
You know,
I was here
Hey,
like
buddy.
20 minutes ago. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
You ran out of
How are you
vodka
doing?
a while ago, huh?
No, I've still got one shot left. It's like
Just
floating around
one?
somewhere. Yeah, one shot.
I literally
Yeah,
have
I
a
still
full
have
half
mine.
gallon sitting next to me of whiskey.
Ah,
It's
you
kind of sad.
fucking
I wish I could give it
bastard.
to you through the internet.
You bastard. No, but you know what? I still have my, I still have a bunch of Steel Reserve, so that
Oh, that
kind of
works.
takes the place of it. Yeah, it totally works. 8%. You know, they're pretty full. Works out for me. You know.
Right on.
You know, it's sometimes it's kind of nice to be a drunk. Sometimes it's nice to be an alcoholic.
Yeah, it has its upsides.
It has its upsides. It definitely does. You're absolutely right, buddy. That's you know, has its downsides. You know, there's physical problems, and as you get older, like your liver starts to fucking
Betray you?
beat on
Do you a
and-
traitor?
like betray you. Yeah, exactly. Starts to betray you. And but you know, there's upsides that are like all the shit that you like really fucking get concerned about. You start to like just sort of chill out. You know, you're just like, I'm not that really concerned because I still have my Steel Reserve.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress. But nice to have you back. Nice to have you back, Cuckster.
I could tell a story if you want.
Yeah, you want to tell a story?
Yeah, I
This is all
got
about
one.
stories, man.
All right. Well, when I was in, you talked about going to college earlier, and for the most part, I agree with you. I basically blew like $12,000 for a degree that never made me a dime. So you were pretty right on about that. But one of the things that I had in college that was good was a history professor who was in his early 80s. He was a bit off, bit of a weird guy. Like there were just a lot of things that he did in the classroom that were just weird. He told us a lot of weird stories. Like he told one of the earliest stories he told was he was a teenager during Prohibition, and him and his friend were walking drunk down an alley in Chicago one night when a couple of prohibitionists, mugged them basically, and beat them with pipes, threw them on a stage, and then used them they used them as an example for like what a drunk person is. And like the only way they kept them on stage was promising to pay them, but after the show they just clubbed them with pipes again and dumped them in the same alley. Like he served in World War II. He told for one, he told an entire classroom of 18-year-olds how to build an atom bomb. Like I drew a diagram while he was talking, and like he explained it perfectly, like the whole thing, like how the one that hit Hiroshima was made. He just told a classroom of 18-year-olds that for no apparent reason one day. Just like, you know. Yeah, just, you know. And, like, he was working in post-war Japan, and he told this story about how there was a tsunami in 1947, and he was flying patrol missions, trying to get the fishermen to come into shore so the tsunami wave wouldn't hit them, but the fishermen wouldn't come in because they thought that the tsunami was God's will that they should be dead because they should have been out at sea that day, so they refused to listen and got killed. Yeah, it's a true story. That's how fishermen reacted back then. They just saw it as fate, and like we were interfering with fate and being like dicks basically, and telling them like, oh, look at us, we're the big important Americans. We got to tell you exactly what's going on here. We got to let you know that there's this storm coming, and oh, it's a bad storm. It's a bad storm. Oh no, gotta get out of here. Gotta go fast. Go fast, and like. They just were like, fuck off, you dicks. God said we're dead today. God said we're dead.
I get what you're saying, but, like, you realize that like, goes on all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
But, like, he told us that specific story. Like, he witnessed it from the plane. Like, he wasn't, like, talking about it like a historical example. He was serving at the time and was serving on a weather plane that was broadcasting warnings to Japanese fishermen and watched them just sit there and do nothing while a fucking tsunami wave came to kill them. But yeah, he told it like the funniest one was we had this one girl in class who was about 6 months pregnant when semester started, and she was out one day and he's doing roll call, which he didn't even normally do in the first place, and I think he did it solely so he could go, oh yeah, she's out of class today, she's very, very pregnant. Like, he just made a point of it for no apparent reason. He was a very strange individual. But yeah, I love that guy. He was a great guy. I felt like I should share for a few.
Yeah, no. To your point, man. That was great. That was great. Are you still here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great. You know, I had both of my grandfathers served during World War II. One was a POW during the Battle of the Bulge, and it totally fucked him up. The other one was he was a Catalina pilot. You know, the Catalina, the seaplanes.
Yeah. Actually, the game War Thunder. I'm a Twitch streamer. I stream that on occasion. That's actually one of my favorite planes to fly. It's a lot of. It's just a very fun. The flying boat. Yeah.
Yeah, the flying boat. It's got all the guns on the side and like all that shit. But he would use it like you know, it's a rescue boat basically. So the stories he had were pretty cool, but no, I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to talk about other shit that you know may or may not interest you. So let's talk about jail.
Actually, jail? Well, I did a day in jail once, but I was just going to mention, actually, since you mentioned the flying boat, in the game War Thunder, it was actually really fun. What they did one day was they took all the different armies' flying boats and made an event where they had to race one another. And I was racing in my fucking flying boat. It was so awesome. It was just a fucking sea of flying boats all shooting at each other simultaneously while racing around an atoll. It was so good. Like, seriously, if you actually, if you are curious enough about it, like, dig into War Thunder and, like, play it for a little while. It's a free-to-play, so, like, you know, you can just hammer at it whenever you want. And, like, you can actually fly that plane, and it's fun as hell.
To your point, like, I've played it, and I like it. I like the flying mechanics because I love flying games. You know, Sturmovik is one of my favorite games of all time. You know, so I love that shit. I'm totally into it. And I played War Thunder, and what's the tank game?
Well, War Thunder actually has a separate tank mode now, so you can kind of get both in the same game. It's pretty badass, actually.
Yeah, the only problem is it's sort of like free to play, you know, pay to win. Like I've
never really had that problem. It's like you're never really that outgunned with the tier system.
Here's the thing, man. is I'm 45 years old. I don't have the patience or the money to like be able to like, oh, you know, I gotta buy this weapon, and I don't have the ability to like twitch move like I used to. Like I used to play like Counter-Strike in my 20s, and that was and I'm not, you know, talking shit. I was even Quake, the original Quake multiplayer.
I did original TF2 before it was cool. The original TF in Quake. I remember playing clan battles with that shit, so I'm right there with you, brother.
Quake, or Quake 3, like, I was a badass at that game. We were part of a clan called the Squares, and we would kick fucking ass all the time. But I'm so old right now where it's like, I just don't have that, you know, I just don't have that twitch ability.
That's
You know,
kind of
so
that's
it's like-
kind of it. Is more like when I play War Thunder, I play like arcade mode, and I'm more just trying to make it like fun and like throw on some music and just kind of hang out. It's not like I'm trying to be the
that's
best
what it
player
is,
on earth, you know.
What's the tank battle game again?
Well, there's World of Tanks, I think, is one of them.
Yeah. And I like that because I like tanks and I like being able to blow shit up. And I lose most of the time, but, you know, every time I
Definitely
win, I'm
committed way
like,
too hard to this. I
fuck
should've
yeah,
done that.
I'm 45 and I can still actually kill something. Which is kind of fun. Where do you live, Matt, by the way? I'm curious.
Michigan.
Michigan. Wow, Michigan. Hands up for Michigan. Hands up for Detroit. Are you on the upper side or the lower side?
Upper.
Upper side. Wow, close to Canada.
Yeah,
So you're
about
like-
4-hour drive.
Yeah, you're like basically a Canadian at this point.
Kinda. We're
Yeah,
really
I
polite.
live Yeah, I live in Massachusetts, where everybody is not fucking, and where I live is not polite at all. They just, you know, there's a reason why they call them massholes.
Well, if you want an indication of how it is where I live, I got pulled over one day and I have anxiety, so I get a little bit shaky when I'm stressed. And one of the cops looks at me and he says, "Are you aware about crystal meth as a scourge in our community?" And I just like laughed at him and said, "Absolutely not." That's where I live. That's what I'm doing. That's what I deal with.
That's a scourge.
He said it just like that too. It's a scourge in our community. Like threw that like big old bold emphasis on it. They were like, "Have you been drinking? Have you been smoking weed? Have you done any medications? Do you know anything about crystal meth? It's a scourge in our community." Like some fucking Broadway actor or some shit.
I have a story about that. I have a story about crystal meth.
Well, that's
All right,
good.
So yeah, so I used to live in the Hollywood Hills in California.
Well, I'd assume
Wait.
that's where the Hollywood Hills are.
Yeah. No, there's the Hollywood Hills in Florida too, because Florida tries to copy, you know, California and
Oh yeah, I guess that's
Anytime.
true. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. So I live in the Hollywood Hills in California, and you know, we live like super above the San Fernando Valley, and we lived across the street from Bridget Bardot's house, and we lived in the house that used to be owned by, I don't know how old you are, I can't remember, but it was owned by the guy, like the lead singer from Rat. Like one of those like hair metal bands from the 80s.
I remember Rat.
Yeah, and then down the street
Bit before my
the
time, but I
Shahs-
had older brothers.
was where the Shahs, like the Shah from Iran's, like his consort, she lived there. So it was like an Anna Nicole Smith lived